Hello, my name's Andrew and welcome to a new episode of SpoilerView where our sole purpose is to discuss movies. So I'm very excited for this because today is gonna be the first episode of our Marvel Cinematic Universe Extravaganza. So basically what this means is that from here on out I'm gonna talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. So Iron Man was the first movie in this cinematic universe. It came out in 2008. Obviously Iron Man is based on a comic by Marvel. Iron Man's first comic book appearance was in Tales of Suspense number 39. It came out in 1963. Obviously he was created by Stan Lee, who created basically this universe that we live today in the Marvel universe. He created him besides Jack Kirby, who was his character designer and cover artist. So now let's talk about the movie. So the writing has 4 credits: Mark Fergus, Huck Otsby, Art Markham, and Matt Holloway. I think their importance in the movie is that as they were starting a cinematic universe, they had to create the characters that were so compelling that the audience would love seeing them again and again. To create a movie that was good enough that it set the bar real high, so that the next movies that came out from this universe were gonna bring a large audience in. The movie was directed by Jon Favreau. His importance relied on creating a movie that set the bar real high, so that the next movies were just as good or even better. That way, movie fans and comic book fans would rally and go to every single movie. Actually, the star of the movie is Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. basically became Iron Man after this movie. One thing that's very important to mention is that Robert Downey Jr.'s career was basically dead. This obviously boosted his career back up, so that when the movie came out, Robert Downey Jr. could revitalize his career and get back on the game, because he's an amazing actor. So obviously in this movie we also had Gwyneth Paltrow playing Pepper Potts, and Jeff Bridges played the villain. Terrence Howard played Iron Man's best friend, Rhodey. I liked Terrence Howard as Rhodey, but nothing compares to Don Cheadle as Rhodey. Don Cheadle brought it to the next level. The relationship between Don Cheadle and Robert Downey Jr. in the movie feels real, as Terrence Howard's relationship with Robert Downey Jr. felt a little stale to me. And obviously, as the big introduction to this universe, we also had to have Clark Gregg, who basically was the one who started uniting them. Since the beginning, it was thought to be the start of a universe and not just like a single movie. The soundtrack is by Ramin Djawadi, who actually I love because he makes the soundtrack for Game of Thrones as well. But I don't think that this soundtrack is so amazing. I think that the most important part is that he created like the Iron Man theme that they end up using most of the time when there's something very Iron Man-esque in the rest of the Marvel universe, and they had to use Iron Man by Black Sabbath, which was really cool, and Back in Black from AC/DC, that was also very well used in the movie. The most important part I think about this movie is that it started the universe with a modern take. It didn't start with the Vietnam origin story that Iron Man had. This as a whole I think was very important because it brought the heroes that people were used to think as of already old and experienced in a world very like our own. So they started this universe with Iron Man. That's something that I think wouldn't have been my first idea if I was going to start a Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I think that it ended up being perfect because it's a very grounded superhero. It doesn't include magic and it's very scientific. So I think that made a very good start. Another thing is that Iron Man is not your typical superhero. Tony Stark's attitude, if you met him in real life, he's kind of an asshole. It's not the person that you would expect to become a superhero. It was very cool not to see the origin story of a perfect guy with perfect morals who thinks well, like any other superhero. but a guy that kind of thinks outside the box, he's a genius billionaire playboy philanthropist. I mean, that's not your typical superhero description right there. By showing us that side of a superhero, he opened up the possibilities for all kinds of superheroes to live in this same universe. So this led to a thing that I find very interesting, and it is that when he's Tony Stark, he seems to be a very different person from when he's Iron Man. He was Tony Stark when he was in the public and when he was talking with Obadiah Stane and with Pepper sometimes. I think that's very important for the movie, because actually at the end, when he reveals that he's Iron Man, you can see that those two worlds that kind of were separated during the movie collide drastically. Finally, one very important part about this movie is that it introduced the after credit scenes. So for a budget of 140 million, the movie made 318,412,000 only in the US. I think you know where this is going. The movie made worldwide $585,174,000. This is amazing, basically because nobody, or at least nobody beyond the comic book fans, knew who on earth Iron Man was. And the fact that to introduce a universe they used him and made this much money is kind of a foreshadowing of what would happen with movies. Kind of shows why everything is so superhero-y in the movie industry right now. So the ratings for the movie are pretty high. IMDb and Metacritic show a 7.9 out of 10, while Rotten Tomatoes shows a 9.3 out of 10. That's pretty high. My rating for the movie is going to have to be a 9, because I adore the movie. I rarely pass the 9s in my ratings for my movies. The only reason why I think this movie isn't higher in my ratings is because so many more comic book movies have come out from 2008. But being that there's so many more to compare from, I think that Iron Man obviously was very high in 2008, but as so many good movies have come out since then, I think my expectations have gotten higher. So thanks for watching this episode of SpoilerView. I hope you liked it. Please make sure to thumbs up that thing. Subscribe if you want to see the next episodes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Extravaganza. I'll try to make all of the movies by the time that Captain America premieres, but I'm not gonna promise everything because I mean it's a lot of movies. Bye!